Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas. And in this video, we have recorded, it was actually recorded during our live stream that we do this last Tuesday. So, we do a live stream every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, when we go over scheduling information, dealer news updates, recalls, and usually have a topic of the week and some other things. But more importantly, we answer your questions live, the community's questions. So we usually have about a couple hundred people in there each week that are watching this live and asking us questions about their order or how they should order their vehicle and that kind of thing. And that's what we're here for, is to help you answer any questions. So if you want to join us live and if you have any questions about scheduling, we can answer them live for you. Also, if you drop them down below, we'll try to get those responded as well. But feel free to come back next week. Again, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, if you want to join us live and ask your question, and we can answer your individual question if it hasn't been answered in the past. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video, and I hope to see you next week. All right, so we're going to get into scheduling information here for this. And just like we do with most weeks, we're going to go over the terminology here and kind of just break everything down so you kind of know what everything means. When we talk about scheduling, we're talking about people that have orders submitted with their dealer that's waiting to get scheduled for a production date so it can get built and then get shipped to them. So let's go ahead and start with the terminology here. All right, so looking through that, so order bank is where the dealer places all those stock and retail orders. A retail order is a customer placed order, is what they call a retail order. A stock order is an order that's placed by the dealer for stock or lot inventory. And then priority codes are given to those orders. Of course, customers, retail gets a 03 to 19. And so they can kind of stack those how they want to. And then 20 to 80 is stock allocation. So again, dealerships can stack those the same way on stock ones. If they want a certain configurations and that they're low on, they can make those 20s and make something maybe they have available, making that 80, so they can stack their stock ones as well. So lower is going to be better, and they will be looked at first. I've had people kind of argue with me on this. Priority codes aren't working right, and they do. Priority codes are looked at first, or the configuration that Ford is looking for is first looked at. They're looking for, let's say, XLTs, and yours is an XLT, and then they're going to look at priority codes next. If you don't have the configuration that they're looking for, it doesn't matter what priority code you're not going to get looked at, and then they'll go on to the next. So that's kind of how that works. So it's always configuration first, priority code, and then your timestamp. Scheduling, and that is when Ford schedules an order for production date in the future months. And a production date, it'll be scheduled to the week, and then at some point it'll get scheduled to the day, and then that's when Ford plans to build your vehicle. Allocations, and why we talk about allocations, and allocation are given to the dealer. So a dealer gives, or Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders. A dealer needs an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank. Dealers earn allocations from sales for each model within their region. So you got to have an allocation to get scheduled. So if a dealer has, a bunch of orders and they don't have enough allocations, they won't get scheduled that month, and they could get carried over to the next month. Constraints, that's an options that may be in short supply or take longer to build. Capacity is the planned production rate of a given motor, trim, or option. We're going to talk about some of those in today's part of this video. And then the job 1 and 2 is a production run is split into, in the model year, split into 2 different ones, because that way that's where they can kind of introduce maybe a new trim level or an option, or make a change to a vehicle because of part constraints and that kind of stuff, or supply issues. Balance out, that's the end of production, or the balance out for a particular model or option, or sometimes a color, like what's going on with the Edge and Explorer soon. So there you go. So that's that information there. So let's go ahead and drill through some of these, starting with the 24 model year Mustang. It is not scheduling this week. Order banks are open up if you want to place an order for a 24 model year Mustang. They plan to produce those through the end of this year. And there's currently 1,391 unscheduled orders in the order bank, which is not that many. Looks like, according to my notes, they usually make about 2,400 a month. So well within that capacity there. So there's really nothing there to be concerned about in the way of constraints or anything. or capacities. So should be good to go on for the Mustang. Actually, you know what? Let me grab some sheet here. So this week, they are still scheduling off of off of November, December's allocations. They are not scheduling. Of course, Mustang's not scheduling, but they are not scheduling for March production yet. That's probably going to start happening next week. So if some of you are kind of waiting because your dealer's allocations for January, February build dates, you got to wait one more week. So just so you know that this is not the week that they're going to start scheduling for yet. So there you go. Escape. I did want to look and see for March production. Their Mustang is going to try to build 2,900 units. So probably won't get into too much of that for this week because these numbers are for March production, which isn't happening until next week. So we'll get into that next week. All right. All right. Moving to 24 model year Escape. It is not scheduling this week. So Escape has about 465 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order bank is open up for everything except for the base trim. And I know Escape, they make about 10,000 a month or something like that. I do have the final numbers for 2023 here. And it does look like on Escape, where's Escape? There it is. Yeah, they make about 13,000 a month of those. So easy, should not have an issue getting an Escape if you have one on order. Again, order banks are open up right now. All right. 24 model year Bronco Sport is not scheduling this week. It says no scheduling for Badlands until mid-March. Order banks are open up for Bronco Sport for all trim levels and packages and everything, even their newer ones that are out. There's currently only 267 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank, which 42% of those are Badlands. So almost half of those. So we know they will not schedule for a while. So everything else should schedule pretty quickly once they can start scheduling again next week for March production dates. So there you go. And they do make about 13,000 of those a month. So sorry about the nose there, but all right. 24 model year Edge. They're doing cleanup scheduling. So they're scheduling for production weeks, the weeks of February 5th through March 4th. And I believe that is for balance out. They are ending the Edge altogether. Does say exhaust availability for the Edge SEL version. Order banks are open up for everything except for the ST right now. And there's currently only 1,186 unscheduled retail orders. 11% of those are the 2.7 liter engine, which is ST. So they just will take those out of there because they're not going to happen. All right. Next is the 24 model year Ranger. Ranger is not scheduling this week. There's currently 2,717 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Ranger. Order banks are open up for the Ranger, including the Ranger Raptor. But I would kind of look, if you go to put in a Ranger Raptor order with a dealer, you might ask them if they have any available allocations, because right now all dealers have only been told about the one allocation that they have so far. And so we haven't gotten any information on when we'll be knowing that if we're going to get any extra allocations outside of that. That's what I have for that. 24 model year Bronco is not scheduling this week. And the order banks are currently open up right now. And there's currently 5,174 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Order banks are open up except for the Heritage Edition and Heritage Limited Edition. I should say that. But other than that, the order banks are open up. And this is where I want to actually bring on and show you this here. There we go. So this is something off of Bronco 6G that they've had on their website for a while, or this week, each week. And one of the things that I did, though, is I printed off theirs and then made some notes on this for reference here. So a lot of people are saying, well, certain things are constrained because this is not color coded, but that's in red. And here's how you really need to be looking at this. So at the bottom of this, you can see that there's 5,174 orders in the order bank. So you can see the middle column says current U.S. order banks. So let me actually see if you I don't think you can see my cursor, but right down the middle, it says at the top, that heading says current USOB. That's United States Order Bank. So let's look at the second one there. Black Diamond, the capacity is 8%. They build about 10,000 Broncos a month. So at 10,000 a month, they can make 800 Black Diamonds. Well, there's 600 orders in the order bank. So that is not a constraint. Even though 12% of the orders are Black Diamond, that's 12% of that lower number down here, which is the 5,100, right? Which is 601. But 8% of the 10,000 is 800. See where I'm going there? So this is, I think, information you need to know. So as you can see with that, everything is within the capacity. Big Ben, they can make 1,800 of those. There's currently only 728 orders in the order bank for that. Same way at Outer Banks, it's 2,300 is what they can produce. So there's currently only 1,115 of those. All those could get scheduled. Badlands is 2,000 versus only, what is that number, 670? Yeah, 670. Wild Trek, 1,500 versus only 600 orders in the order bank. Everglades, that is actually supposed to be 1%, which is 100. So they can build 100 Everglades a month. That's more than the 49 in the math that I learned in grade school. Heritage Edition, they can build 300. That's the only one that's probably constrained. You're 493. So there you go. You have more Heritage Edition orders than what they can build in the first month. So that one, if you have a Heritage Edition, you may not get scheduled for March production date. It may be April before you get scheduled. But all the others, look there. If you keep going to the hard tops, two-door hard top, 1,500 is what they can build. Well, they're under that. Same way on the hard top, they're 6,700 hard top Broncos they can build. They have less than that on orders in the order bank, even though that number says it's a negative there. So all those are that way. Even if you go down to the front lot or your Sasquatch package, right? They can make 4,000 a month, Sasquatch and Lux packages. There's still, both of those are below that number. So that's my point is, know how to read this when you see that in there. Help people if you're in there. I know RagnarCon does this each week. He kind of helps people. Wrong one. But if you are in the Bronco 6G and you see that, help those people out. Help them understand what that actually means, and that's not necessarily a negative, because, like I said, that middle column, that percentage on the right that says retail order bank, that is what's that bottom number, whereas the U.S. capacities is what they can produce off of what the normal month is, which is about 10,000 units. So keep that in mind. All right. Okay. 24 model year Maverick is scheduling, is cleanup scheduling, and that would be for dealerships that have allocations. We don't have any. Production weeks for the week of January 1st through February 26th. Limited availability for the XL trim, also for the black appearance package. Also the splash guards also are limited availability. Exhaust availability for the hybrid, for the tonneau cover hard trifold, as well as the tires that are on the XL and XLT. So that is the reason we see that exhausted now. That's not going to be that way next week when they reset for scheduling for March. It's for what they need to fill in for the spots for production for January and February. They have some open slots to place those in there. But again, a dealership has to have allocations. Order banks are open up for the Maverick for all trim levels. Actually surprised that they haven't closed the XL. But they are open up for all trim levels. There's currently 23,075 unscheduled retail orders. And I have an image of this one too. We can bring that up. So again, I got this off of the Maverick Truck Club.
Which I absolutely love because, right there in the picture says confidential.
Yeah, it says confidential.
But it's getting thrown up on Maverick Truck Club.
Ford, you can get mad at me if you want, but I just pulled this off of there, printed it, and then wrote my own numbers in there. But this one here is different than Bronco, where they actually don't tell you how many orders. They just tell you percent of the orders. So again, using the number at the bottom, that 23,075 number, that column, it says retail order banks, 78% of the 23,000 orders are hybrid. Well, that comes out to 17,998. Now, that number is more than the 5,500 orders. So with this math, it'll probably take 4 months to get all the hybrids scheduled. So there is your constraint, hybrid. Next one, even gas, you look at that. There's currently 22% of the orders, which is 5,076. capacity is 4,500. So it will even take even more than 1 month to schedule the gas. But it's not too bad. The rest of them, XL is a big one. You can see that number. There's 57% of the orders in the order bank are XL, which is 13,152. Capacity is 2,300 in a month. So there you go. So, and I will say that there's been a couple months where they've been able to make 13,000. I'm basing this off of the production average that they had last year, which was 10,000. And I do know in March they don't plan to produce 10,000 even. And then you can see some of the other breakdowns there as well on that sheet. So some of them, XLT luxury package is a little over what they could build in 1 month. Lariat luxury package, which basically all Lariats will have a Lariat luxury package. There you go. And trimmer, they're within that. Only 230 trimmer orders in the order bank, but they can build 1,000. So they would need trimmer orders. So if anything, you're thinking about doing order a trimmer, you probably can get scheduled for a March production date, depending on your dealer and allocation. So preference that. But there you go. So anyway, that's some of that information there when you're looking at that. So, all right. Again, I got that information from Maverick Truck Club. Even though I have that information, there you go.
You waited till it got leaked out there.
Yep, I didn't put it on there either. All right, next is the 24 model year Explorer. My nose is running. Not scheduling this week. Order banks are open up, but not for much longer. So get that order in. Don't have a lot of time there. And there's currently only 669 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Explorer. Next is the 24 model year Expedition. No scheduling this week. There's currently 772 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Don't forget Platinum's, I guess for next week, if you're looking at Platinum, will require the 22-inch wheel. And Limited 302A will require sandstone interior, and the order banks are open up for the Expedition. All right. 24 model year Mach-E. No scheduling this week. There's currently only 30 orders, retail orders in the order bank for the Mach-E. 73% of those, well, it says non-GT all-wheel drive. So anyway, most of them, it says 50% are the LFP battery. Order banks are open up for the Mach-E, for the Select and the Premium, but not the GT yet. Yeah, that's all I have on that. Next is the Super Duty. So, excuse me. So 24 model year Super Duty. Hold on. All right. 24 model year Super Duty. They looks like they are scheduled at the Kentucky Truck Plant for build dates January 29th through February 26th. Ohio for the week of February 26th. Those are the same notes as last week, I think. And they currently have 23,213 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. And it says, very important, it says required orders. They need F250 and F350 XL regular or crew cab with a 6.8 liter engine without the standard heavy duty alternator and the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. So they're needing some of those orders. And then limit availability for the F600 chassis cab. Limit availability, well, all these have limit availability. The fuel tank that's included in the Power Stroke diesel engine, the 6.7 liter. For the XL, XLT, and Lariat F350s, F450s, F550s, and F600s. The 20-inch chrome alloy wheel, standard on the chrome package. That wheel is limited. The 225/70R 19.5G traction tire that's standard on the F450 pickup, as well as the tire 245/70R 19.5 that's optional on the chassis cab F600 XL or XLT, as well as the 245/70R 19.5 standard that's on the chassis cab F600 XL and XLT. Also, the wheel, the 18-inch machine and painted alloy wheel that's included with the trimmer off-road package. So that would that would be an issue with your trimmer off roads. So, and then the LK frame, as well as the max recline seats. Oh, the 4x4 Dana axle, almost forgot that one. That's optional on the 450, 550, and 600. The power deployable running boards is optional on the Lariat. Standard on King Ranch Platinum and Limited is unlimited availability. The headlamp that's standard on the Limited and the, it says premium, but I think it means platinum. So I think that's the projector LED is limited. The 203-inch wheelbase fuel tank with the low sulfur diesel fuel, and also the fifth wheel hitch kit, and then the tailgate step. So those are all things that are a little bit harder to get there. So don't forget about those. And then, yeah, constraint wise. So yeah, they don't even have this. They took off some of the stuff from the constraint list this week. They did change some of the percentages for this week on the high output diesel engine. It was 10%. It is now 19% is what they can build the high output. So if they've increased that production, that is great news for a lot of people with a high output, because that was 10%. So that has been changed for this week. So we'll see if it carries over for next week when there's more allocations for dealers. So I know we still have some allocations that weren't granted yet and fulfilled. So hopefully we get some of those scheduled for our customers. So, all right, 24 model year F-150. They are scheduling for the week of February 26th. There's currently 6,296 unscheduled F-150 orders, not counting Lightning or Raptor. And let's see, the only thing in here, limit availability for the tonneau cover, pickup box cover, 96J, and limit availability for the LT 265/70 R18C all-terrain tire. I think that's a tire for the. No, the trimmer's not available yet. Anyway, order banks are open up for the F-150 except for trimmer. And don't forget, I always forget to mention this, but that Pro Access tailgate isn't going to be on your orders yet for those that are hoping to get that. All right. Lastly, 24 model year Transit. They are scheduling for the production week of February 26th. Says we encourage our dealers to submit Transit Trail orders with remaining allocation. So if you have an allocation, they're trying to get you to put that in there. Currently, 6,209 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Limit availability for the electric, the E-Transit, the high roof, low passenger van, the four-wheel drive, and the extended length running boards. Order banks are open up for that. So again, these notes, when I go over these, are for this week. And they can change from week to week. A lot of times we see them the same most weeks, but in some cases, just like with the Transit, we did see there was a lot more things that weren't available or were limited last week, but are available this week. So they do change from week to week with those capacities and constraints. So keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that scheduling for this week and the notes that I mentioned is only for this week. And this is based off of December's allocations earned for January, February build dates. We saw most of those build dates were in February. They're not scheduling yet for March production dates. They usually schedule about 2 months in advance. So that'll probably start next week, I would assume. So anyway, there you go.